Dr. Ross dropping knowledge to the masses. Man, you now tuned in to purpose and practice. Ayy, yeah, purpose and practice. Keep your mental sharp, learn all the tactics. Dr. Ross dropping knowledge to the masses. Man, you now tuned in to purpose and practice. Ayy, yeah, purpose and practice. Podcast game, ayy, he got it mastered. The sign call.
Yo, peace to the family, the community, the purpose and practice community out there that been holding us down for almost a year. We about to hit a year in August. Yo, shout out to Mr. Encore for the crazy bananas intro that goes crazy, and outro. I use it for both. Shout out to you, Mr. Encore, and to Mama Hill. Like, yo, they about this, that business about to open up on Jelline Avenue. Be sure to check out, Mama Hill. She's selling that vegan. If you into that vegan piece, make sure you check her out. They're gonna be coming live on Jelline at the old Cutter's Corner. Like, if you and even going back before Cutter's Corner, it was when I was living in Garfield Court. I think it was Chicken Holiday. It was a chicken spot that we used to go to, and crazy thing. One of the craziest and saddest memories I have of that area. Derwin, shout out to Derwin. Derwin was hit by a car at that corner. That intersection was crazy, and they just recently put a light up there. It wasn't always a light. If you're familiar with the area, Jelline Avenue, Rockwell Avenue, where Cutter's Corner is, it wasn't always a light there. And the brother Derwin, growing up, man, I must have been like in 5th grade, and he was shot. And I remember being at the scene and seeing his sneaker. And if you're familiar with the area, you'll know his sneaker was all the way at 5th Avenue, and he was hit by a car rather on Jelline and Rockwell, and that just like blew our minds, yo. But trying to cross that area on a bike, I believe, during that time. So special Joe, shout out to Mama Hill starting that business. Looking forward to getting over there and getting some vegan eats. Those of you who are vegan, or if you're not, it's just another way to explore some different kind of food. We are back. We've been kind of sitting out for a minute, man. Like, it's been crazy things going on with me. Professionally, it's been very busy. Life has been very busy. Family stuff, it's been hectic. But we are back, and we're back here to bring you another story, bring you another narrative, a narrative with a K and not an N, because I like the narrative with a K for that knowledge, because we're going to be learning about a story that I know will influence others and be some type of perspective builder for others. So we are back with another episode, and we are back with a brother that I think about him, man, and we go way back, not only him, but shout out to his older brother TJ, saying rest in peace TJ, his uncle Gajid, his mom, your mom, fam. Like, I just think back of growing up, and it's funny because my big cuz TT, Peanut mom, Jared mom, had commented on your post when she saw your picture, and I'm like, that goes all the way, that goes back, because like y'all all came up, yep. Tamara, all they came up like together, you know what I'm saying? So I watched y'all grow up, man, and fortunately I was able to be a big part of y'all life growing up, and you and your big brother looking up to me and Gajid, doing what we was doing, which wasn't always the right thing, but y'all was always y'all looked out, cooking those good fries for us. But welcome to the show, Jermaine, man. And Jermaine, and we're gonna learn more about it, but he's a brother that is doing his thing, entrepreneurship. I want to learn more about the investment housing or property rather, being a real estate agent, how you got to that point, how you work to do those things, and just hearing about your story, man. So welcome to the show, man. How you feeling, bro?
Man, I'm feeling good. And, I just want to thank you for having me on the show. I tune in every week. I like what you got going on, and I'm glad I could be a part of it.
Nah, no doubt, fam. Like it's for us, yo. Not to bite off of FUBU, for us, by us, but this is what, when I had the vision to make this show, this is what it was about. It was like, yo, how could we just bring these stories to life, man? And sometimes people who just think that they're doing ordinary stuff, it's extraordinary, and we need to bring it to the forefront. So I appreciate you coming on, fam. I really do. I really, really, really
Thank
do.
you.
See, yes, thank you. See, and yo, the way you grew up on Fifth, so you already know. Like he like, yo, that was CNC chicken. And I was like, yo, it was CNC chicken. No doubt. Feel you, bro. Thank you for bringing that. Because I was like, was it Chicken Holiday? Or it was CNC chicken over there. Shout out to you, Dwight. So, yo, man, it's good to have you on the show. And I'm really, 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 really looking forward to this episode with you, man. I hit you back like maybe 3 months ago, maybe a little more than that, of like, yo, I want to get you on the show. So I'm happy that you're here with us, yo.
And like I said, I'm glad to be here, and it's a privilege to be here. So just like it's like bragging rights. When you make that call to somebody, they bragging about being on this show.
Yo, and that's how I feel when I make the call, because it's kind of like shooting your shot, pause. But it's like, yo, you shooting your shot, and sometimes people are not comfortable. You wouldn't believe how many people that I reach out to who are doing great things, and they'd be like, nah, unfortunately, yo, I gotta pass. And sometimes it's because they don't want to be on live. They don't, so it's a comfort level thing. You would be amazed, that there's some people that like, yo, salute. But yo, I don't feel like I would do well. And then there's some people like, I kind of have to talk into it. And then when they do it, they're like, yo, thank you for talking me into that. Yo, but this is conversational, and we're going to have a conversation, man. And, one of the things, bro, so Jermaine, that we like to do is we like to start off by telling stories of growing up. I think that stories growing up are very important. I think that those growing up experiences make us who we are, and not totally define us, but they're a big part of who we are. Maybe I should say that. So if you don't mind, just kind of flashing back, bro, and sharing some of your stories growing up.
Well, growing up, like every other kid pretty much like an inner city, played sports, went to school, grew up with my grandparents, lived in a household with my grandparents, my big brother, and my uncle. And, just did regular kid stuff, like I said, playing the sports and just trying to stay focused.
And I was over there. So when you say, y'all was staying focused and y'all was doing y'all thing and y'all was playing sports, the one thing, I just went over there because somebody was selling, there's over there on Whitmore. I think it's still called Whitmore. I don't know if they changed it. But they were selling the Berea tacos. So we went over to pick up some tacos. And I was like, it was me and my son. My daughter was with me. And I was like, yo, that house right there is a big part of me growing up. And it was where y'all stayed.
And I have a lot of people tell me that. A lot of people say, we rode down the street, we ride past the house that we grew up in, like it's a museum or something.
Yo, that house. And I said, there used to be a basketball court. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, yo, do you remember those basketball games on that court?
No, it was crazy. We would treat my backyard like the Rucker or something. Like,
yo, it was like...
There's no way it should have been 40 people in the backyard. Like it was just too much going on.
Yo, it was the backyard basketball court, and we used to ball out there. And Then it was was it a swing area? Was it a swing out there? But
It was a swing
like,
out there too.
yo, it was a swing.
Yeah.
Yo, and it's like, I just remember, when me and Gajid connected, we were in ninth grade. It was like eighth grade going into ninth, because is when we really, really, really connected. And I just remember cutting through, because that was another thing I was telling my son. I was like, yo, this path, it's houses now. And I was like, it wasn't, if you've been over there, I was like, yo, it wasn't houses. It was like a path. And we would be scared to go. Like at night, I'd be leaving there like, damn, I don't want to walk all the way around. I want to go through the path, but then it's possums in the path, it's rats in the path. Like, right? Am I right or wrong?
That's definitely how it used to be. Like, if you get home too late and it's 10 o'clock at night, you got to walk through that path. You debate, do I want to walk all the way around or cut through this path right now? Because anything like would jump out and chase me.
Word. It was a business decision. And that's real talk though. And it was like, and people won't even know, because like when I say the path, I'm not talking about a path where it's like all level grass. I'm talking about a path where the trees and the bushes are over your head. Like, that's what you walking into.
Yeah.
But it was like, yo, I can get home like 5 minutes faster.
But it was a lot nice, but I just ran through it. Like, I'm gonna just run full speed. I definitely didn't walk. I ran every time. Start with a light jog, and you hear something.
Because you always gonna hear something in there. And it's like, all right, I'm out. You be like, yo, I'm out. And that's what we would do. And just seeing that, I was like, damn, yo, like that just took me all the way back. Yo, peace out, I acknowledge. It took me all the way back to when we went over there, of the days and the nights that we spent over there, yo. So you talked about, growing up, obviously your big brother, growing up with your grandparents, growing up with Big Bird, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, talk about some of the influence that they had on you, fam.
Well, my Uncle Eric, he played basketball, he played sports, he helped me get into sports and everything, but he was out the house when I was probably like 6 or 7 years old. He had went off to college. So that was my first experience of watching somebody go to college. So that was a great role model that I had at the time, just seeing the things that he was doing. And then, also growing up in the house with Gajid, I always just felt like he was the smartest man on the planet. Yeah. So, that it was great growing up under him.
Yeah, both of them, because real talk, like Woody, just older brother Woody, went to Howard, but a big reason why they learned about Howard was through like your uncle, your older uncle, because he went through that whole world, and that's how we learn. Like we learn about, all right, is this college down here? Is this college down there? Or it's just college, and him going down there is what kind of convinced them to be like, all right, yo, Howard is out there. You know what I'm saying? Because we know, in terms of hearing stories about, some of the folks that came through before us being down there. So real talk, that was a big influencer, further than you would even believe, in terms of influencing other people to be like, yo, I'm gonna go to Howard. I'm gonna do that Howard thing.
You had TV shows like A Different World and everything, where they was going off to college and you thinking it's just TV, but then my uncle going to college, I'm like, this is real.
Yo, it's real.
People really live like this.
It's real. And it's funny because I wasn't around then when your uncle was there, and I heard like the stories that I heard about him were like, especially on athletically basketball, like, and there was always a story about his hands being like crazy, crazy big, fam. And that was always a story. I think when we were like in freshman year, I think that we were playing football, and Coach Belina and Coach Colvin, they were sharing stories, about Bird's hands, and they were like how big his hands were, and they were like, sharing those stories or whatever, And then you talked about Gajid, and to this day, just you talked about him being the smartest person you knew, and even as a peer, I will always say that, like, one of the most brilliant minds, bro, that I've ever been around, is Gajit. Like, yo, his mind was like, it still is, like, it's just, it's brilliant. It's
Yeah.
brilliant. It's
Like, so,
brilliant.
I had a lot of good people to look up to, especially like, being around Gajid and just all the friends that he had, including yourself, where I learned a lot from all y'all.
True.
So,
And
I had a great upbringing. Let me say that, around the people with good role models.
Yo, and it was I know that, and we were just finding our way. And I just remember, like, us all kind of like coming up together, and I used to go and get picked up, and we would go in the morning. I would get a ride, and I would stop to the house, and y'all would still be getting ready for school. And it was all one thing about y'all house, yo. It was always breakfast every morning. I was like, damn.
Yep.
And we wasn't eating no hog, but it was bacon. Yo, it was it was bacon. Now when I say every morning, it was bacon. When I walked in to get I cut through the path. I'd be like, all right, I was over on Long Branch Avenue, right? I cut through the path. Be love, peace, bro. And be love, you know that area because you was right. Y'all was living in the same spot. So I cut through the path, come up in the house. It's always fresh bacon, like on the stove type pancakes. I was like, yo, every morning, like it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every Monday through Friday. It was fresh. Am I lying, Jermaine?
Listen, you definitely telling the truth on that. Every single morning, my grandparents made sure breakfast was cooked.
Yo, and I would be like, yo, I ain't eating that bacon. And it was like, yo, but I would love some of those pancakes. But Gajid was like so serious. And he would come down like, all right, we ready. And I wouldn't even have no time to be like, let me get a pancake. And we would hop, and I would hop in the back of the truck because it was a little pickup, a brown pickup, if I recall. I would hop in the truck and we'd be off to school. But it's like those things, that we remember. And your people, they were always, I always felt at home there.
And that's, I try to keep that same structure that they had. Like I wake up in the morning and make sure that I eat breakfast, and my family makes sure everybody eats at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, or however the schedule is for the day.
Damn.
And keep that same structure.
So hold on. You keeping that tradition going?
Yeah, I keep it going. Yep.
See, I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine earlier, and we were talking about like setting good examples for our children. And because we automatically think that kids are just going to we love them, they're going to grow up to have these certain traditions and ways of life, but we got to teach them intentionally.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And you teaching them that,
make your bed as soon as you get up.
Yo.
It's old school stuff, I guess, but I like it, and I feel like it just provides structure for the day.
And that's important, yo, Jermaine. That I'm struggling with my kids with that. And I just started a project with them and like, yo, we gotta get up. I get up early, but y'all gotta start getting up early. We're gonna start doing some activities early in the morning. Because I believe in that early bird gets the worm.
I believe that too.
Yeah, but you setting up things like that, and then me telling, and we ain't even had this whole talk. It ain't like we gonna talk about this. Isn't that's wild though, man? That really impacted you to be like, yo, just what I want to expose, future generations to.
Yeah. And that's what I tell them, I wake up every morning, I'm up like 6:30. Like I just always got this mindset of, you conquer more land in the daylight. So you can get a lot more done in daytime than nighttime. So I still try to go to sleep early and, wake up and get things done.
Yo, I'm not surprised, Jermaine. And to say that I seen a lot of that in you earlier in your life, like I'm saying that, people may think it's cap, but it's not cap. I saw a lot of that in you early in life. You and your big brother, like one of the things, like y'all used to hold us straight down. Like y'all was just like, y'all was good kids, but y'all was always watching us. Like it
Yeah.
was like y'all were always watching us, but y'all had like a sense of almost like y'all was old souls. And you know, it feels like me even doing this interview is kind of like me interviewing you and talking to you and your brother. But y'all had these old souls about you, man, where it was almost like y'all were older than y'all were.
Mhm.
Talk a little bit about that. Like when you
That's
were
funny.
younger, did
Everybody
you
always say
feel
that.
that?
Yeah,
Did you?
I felt that. I think over the years, we're getting older. I look back more now, and I can see it because everybody always felt that about my brother. Like, you know, he was all his friends that he was the same age as. They felt like he was the older brother to them too.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
feel like he did everything first. Like everything that we all did, he showed us the way. That's how I always felt. Like everybody his age and down, like we all looked up to him.
And that was facts. And I see you got the charm on right now.
Yeah,
With TJ, and whether it was, you know, we come in the basement was like that was like you talk about like Nut was like, oh, the you know that court was legendary. The basement was even more legendary. And we won't even get into that because it's like the basement is one of those spots that like, yo, that's sacred. Those are sacred grounds. Like, so
exactly.
we ain't gonna share a lot of stories about the basement, but but the reason why I bring it up, Jermaine, is that you and TJ, y'all learn the importance of kind of what I just said in terms of like, yo, what happened in the basement, stay in the, and we actually said that what happened in the basement, stay in the basement. And y'all never, y'all ain't let that go. Like y'all stay right. Am I right or wrong?
Man, listen, you're absolutely right. And that's how it should be.
Word. But that's what I mean about also being old, like kind of old souls, is that, y'all had the maturity level to kind of understand all of those things, which I think, I think that's important, but I think it's also a testament in terms of, how we're raised, and who we're looking up to, as we're coming up. Peace, Just.
Well, that's why
We
also a lot of people, they always tell me, oh, I thought you was older than what you are because, I always
Yes.
hung with my brother and I just stayed under him at all times. And he had to bring me everywhere he went. He couldn't go nowhere to a party if he
Without
didn't bring me. So it made everybody think I was his age, but he just couldn't go out the house if I couldn't go with him.
so true. So true. And it was y'all. And it was like when I was writing up the little thing for y'all, I was like, for you rather, I'm thinking about my brother Corey. I'm like, yeah, he
Yeah,
was like, that was like the whole team, of y'all coming from underneath us,
yeah,
um, and that was, and y'all looking up to us, for
yeah,
guidance, just like we looked up, to the older heads who we came after.
yeah.
So, we talk about growth. We talk about establishing that confidence, even at a younger level, man. Let's talk about a little bit about you in terms of school. Like a lot of what I like to do is get experiences of folks and younger heads, who when they were coming through school, what school was like, what they did well at, if there were instances where they failed. If you could talk a little bit about that, thinking about elementary school, middle school, what have you, what your experiences were like there.
Well, as far as school, I'm not going to sit there and say I was like an A student, but I was no F student either. I was just, average student, C's, B's. And, I like school, but more so than anything, I like math. That was my favorite subject. I hated science. I just couldn't get into it, couldn't figure it out. And yeah, I just hated it. But as far as growing up, just math was my favorite subject. And it kind of travels on to what I'm doing now, as far as with being a real estate investor as well.
So math was your thing.
Yeah.
When did you realize that, bro?
Probably in like the 10th grade. I think in an algebra class one time, and I was just sitting there, and I was just tired. I don't know what it was. We playing sports, and you're just tired during the day and getting ready for practice, kind of in class by sleeping a little bit. So the teacher called me up for an assignment, and I think she thought, oh, he's not paying attention, he's laying down. So I did the assignment with no problem, and she like, you're really good at math because he wasn't even paying attention.
Wow.
So And that just, it's kind of like she was giving me she was encouraging me, but didn't really understand what she was doing at the time.
Yeah, because she was trying to kind of play you a little bit, but like, right? Like, let's keep it 100. Like, she was trying to play you a little bit.
But anything that, like they say, if you like something, you could do it in your sleep. So at that time, I just felt like that was my subject right there.
So you felt like that came to you pretty much in high school then, like your sophomore year started like connecting.
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Let me ask you this. In terms of, first of all, what elementary school did you end up going to?
I went to Leonard Conroe and Anastasia.
Okay. All right. So it was Leonard Conroe early and then Anastasia later?
Yeah, because Leonard Conroe was from, I was at kindergarten to second grade, and then Anastasia was from 3rd to 5th.
Okay, so they had changed it. See, by then they had changed the whole setup. All right, so you did kindergarten, then you did Anastasia. You get to middle school. What was middle school like? I know we talked a little bit about high school, but what was middle school like in terms of like sports? Were you into sports at that time, or did sports come later?
I was into sports at that time, and the main reason I was into sports, because my older brother, so he plays, so obviously, I'm following everything he's doing. I didn't care for it as much as he cared for it, but it just grew into liking it more. So I played basketball, I played football, and when I was younger, I played baseball, but that kind of stopped at middle school.
So you probably did the whole baseball wise. You probably did the whole little league thing, like you did little league,
cat league, and a little bit of little league. And I think I played little league, right? And I remember Corey was pitching and he hit me with the ball, and it was just like, man, Corey was wild. I said, nah, I ain't playing this no more.
Yeah, y'all was over there by Leonard Conroe playing at that field at Leonard Conroe. It's funny because I got an old tape, and I was telling my son about it because he likes baseball, and I was like, "Yo, your Uncle Corey was a good pitcher, yo." He was like,
I'll never forget. He was in Atlanticville, and it said "King of the Mound," and
word. allergies and all, eyes all big because he had bad allergies. Yes. You right, yo. That Atlanticville, and it's crazy though, Jermaine, because he gave up baseball. It's like after Little League, he stopped. That's why I asked you that.
And that's like most of us. Most of us stopped after Little League. I don't know why, but we all did as soon as we got to middle school.
Yeah, it stopped. But I remember that because my dad was like, yo, because like I never had no newspaper article, anything like that. So my dad was like, yo, King of the Mound. I'll never forget. Like I had to hear that like for the whole year. Like, yo, we got King of the Mound. I ain't never had no damn newspaper article. But I remember going to all his games, and watching his games and watching all y'all play, for that matter. So you get into high school, fam, and were you like? I know you said you weren't like the best student, but were you conscious about like, yo, I want to do well academically?
Yeah, because I was also the student, like with anything else in life, I'm determined not to fail. So I'm not somebody that's going to be in class and fail, but that was a bad thing because I was settling for being average, just being a C student. And, you gotta pass in order to play sports. So obviously, I was working hard, but not as hard as I could have though.
Facts. And that part that you said about passing to play sports, what sports were you playing? I know, we talked about you kind of gave up baseball. What sports were you playing in high school?
In high school, I was playing football. I played a little bit of basketball, but I just got tired of it. And I just couldn't really, I lost, the love of the game, probably like 11th grade, but mainly just football.
Okay. And did you start football at not middle school, but in 9th grade, you play freshman?
Yeah, I played freshman. I think we lost like one game that year. So our freshman team was good. We had a real good team.
Okay. So freshman year, you had a good team.
Good at y'all. I think y'all was undefeated.
Listen, I'm not. I wasn't even going to go there. Don't say you think. Don't say you think we was. You knew we was. But but real talk, I wasn't going to go there. But those things are important. So y'all lost one game. And what position were you playing there?
I was playing running back. So I was playing halfback at the time, and that was my first time playing halfback because prior to that, like in Pop Warner, I just played fullback. So that was my first time getting the experience, and it worked out.
Okay. So you did your little running back thing freshman year. Y'all lost one game. You're doing your thing academically. Then sophomore year, you realize, yo, math. I love math. Um, Talk to us a little bit about challenges that you may have had in high school, whether it was academically, whether it was athletically.
Well, athletically, I mean, I had challenges because, obviously when you're young, you coming up and there's people that's going to play in front of you. Like,
Mhm.
obviously you want to start on every level.
True.
So 10th grade, Toddy was playing in front of me. So I knew I wasn't about to start over him. I mean,
Hold on. Who is that? Who?
that was Toddy.
Who'd you say?
Toddy
I
was
was just playing. I was just playing.
I mean, to me, I think the best running back in, Long Branch history. So
Yeah.
I didn't expect to start over him. But, once his time was up and he graduated, and then I came right after him. And I think my junior year, I wound up breaking my arm. So I was playing with a cast, so I couldn't really do what I wanted to do. But the senior year, we had a good season the senior year.
Yeah, I remember that you hurting yourself. And even going back, you talked about Toddy being ahead of you. Toddy was 1 year or 2 years ahead of you.
He was 2 years.
2 years ahead of you. So he was half back, and you was trying to crack that. But what was it like? Like, what was like? There was no cracking that, and obviously salute to Toddy. Like we all know. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you don't know, then I don't know. What you thinking about. But when you watch him play and impacting all aspects of the game, to be honest, I remember watching him. It was a punt return. I don't even remember. I don't remember. It may have been his junior year. But I remember standing in the back of the end zone and watching him return a punt. And it was like he was playing with like Pop Warner kids. He hit he hit the home sideline and went to the school. And I was like, yo, it was just like it was like slow motion, crazy. And
it was fun to watch.
Yo, it was one of those things where it was like you just like when you talk about paying to watch somebody play. He was one of those dudes that is like, yo, I pay to watch, to watch, and then going back and think about coming up, and us all playing together. It was, not just put Matawan. It was Matawan senior year. I knew I wasn't bugging, but watching him come up, as a young head under us, my little cousin, and he was a beast, and you could see something in him even then. So you were behind him. So what was that? What was that like?
I mean, I gained a lot watching him because as far as practice goes, they didn't expect him to do too much. So they would kind of just throw me out there to the scout team, and I was kind of like a test dummy. You know how that go. So it's like the first team defense. I'm going against them, and they kind of having their way with me.
True.
Yeah, I was a scout team running back, but that's what made me better, though. It made me stronger and everything. So I was prepared.
And I definitely know that feeling. But that's good preparation. So you you go through. When did you get your shot, like to really get legitimate varsity play?
Well, that year right there, the year with Toddy, because in '98 they put me in a game one time. We was blowing somebody out. Mom's Regional, that's what it was.
Okay.
And I scored like a 40-yard touchdown. And I said, all right, that's it right here. I like this feeling, I said, I'm gonna do this. I like this right here. So that right there, that gave me, I just felt good about that.
Yo, a 40-yard touchdown. So against Monmouth Regional, you get the 40-yard touchdown. You feel good about it. You start feeling yourself. And so you were on, were you on that team that played at Carteret?
No, that was my freshman year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I came up though. I moved up and when they played Carteret, so I was there.
Okay. All right. So that was 2 years later when you had that experience.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. So your senior year, what is that like?
That was the best, football experience I had right there. Like, I just felt like my senior year, we was all friends. And that's what kind of made the team. And that's why I felt like it was going to work. It was just too much chemistry there. Like, I'm hanging with Dave. He the quarterback. I hang with Nasir. He's my best friend. He the fullback. And like he would tell me, don't worry about nothing. I'm a block for you. Ain't nobody going to touch you. So, when you're playing with your friends and they give you that type of confidence, it's
different.
You feel like you can't lose.
Yeah, it's that's a good point that you made, fam, because we when sports are one thing, but when you have a connection that is like really personal, like if you have a Nasir saying, yo, I got you. You know what I'm saying? Y'all in the huddle because as like as a fullback, it's not a lot of glory in that position. It's like, yo,
No,
I gotta block the middle linebacker for you. And for him to say that, that's just evidence of like, yo, it was like straight brotherhood.
yeah, yep. And that's how the team felt. And I just feel like that's why, we was the second best team to do it out of Long Branch.
Yo, man, y'all y'all did y'all thing, and I really think that year, and I watched y'all a lot that year, and I love watching y'all. That was one of the greatest teams that I love watching. And some of the games, some classic games. I remember an overtime game. Was it overtime or y'all won at the last second? It was a big game too, to even get y'all into the playoffs. And I think Dave threw a touchdown pass to get it was like the last seconds of the game. It was at home too. And like y'all just like getting into the playoffs and then going on a crazy run.
Yeah.
That I think is one of the best runs in Long Branch history.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah. Like I said, we had a real good run and we was covered in every position. I'm playing running back. You got Nasir playing fullback. You got Derek playing tight end. You got Ronnie. It's a lot of people out there. We was pretty good.
And then y'all make it to the state finals. And that was a special game for me because one of my, in RIP, Frankie, he played at Neptune at the time. I think it was his senior year. It was Frankie Smith. I think he was on that team. But y'all had like a crazy win versus a team that was probably like undefeated for the last 3 years.
Yeah, yep. And you know how it is going into Neptune. You feel intimidated because they got them big black uniforms and they had oversized pads on. So you feeling like they bigger than everybody. They fast. They always good. And so, we was a little intimidated because the first game they had blew us out kind of, but we had a couple people missing.
Yes.
So we was prepared though.
That's right. That's right. I forgot that y'all played them twice that year. So they probably came in thinking like, yo, we got this. We got this.
They thought that was going to be a easy game. But we had about like 3 or 4 people missing. So I know Mike Lamb, he was missing that game and he wasn't missing for the finals. So he showed up and, did what he did.
Yeah. Shout out to Mike Lamb. And that game, I'll never forget. And me and Woody, we were in the back end zone watching that game. And I'll never forget. It was 2 plays I'll never forget. It was one play. It was a touchdown to that end zone. And I don't know if it was Womack or Warren. And I forget who it was, caught a touchdown. And then the play that I'll always remember is watching you go away from us for a touchdown on like an option play. Am I right? Yo, did they not think you was going to get that pitch? Like,
nah, they didn't think that at all. And it's funny because, I know a couple of them now, and we was talking about it, and it was like, we didn't think he was going to pitch it to you because y'all ran that play a couple of times, and he didn't pitch it to you.
He just kept it. Like, Dave would keep it. Because that whole game, he was keeping it. And, Yo, Jermaine, similar to what I talked about with Tidy and watching him go down the sideline, that play, it was like slow motion. And then like I have a whole affinity because I'm like, yo, I knew this kid when he was like that. And I'm watching you. And a lot of people don't talk about this, but I think I even shared it with you. A lot of times we get caught up in who was the greatest team, in the history of the school. And sometimes we forget about big wins and what a big win can do for a school and, a program. And I think that was like one of the biggest wins that our program has had in Long Branch for like, that was a win that kind of set a whole tone.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
But like, that season, it just meant a lot to me too, because like when the season first started, I think it was like week 2, my mom had passed away. So it just meant a lot because everybody really showed that, that we was all friends because everybody came there for me and they showed their support and everything. Yes. I've really seen the definition of teamwork and friendship right there. So
yes, I remember that too. And being at that funeral, like, and it's funny because I started off by telling the story, and then Peanut was in earlier, and I remember like y'all all was living over there, over by Leonard Cairo School, for a minute. And you may not even remember that because you was probably like a baby then.
yeah, I was always told about it, but I don't remember that.
Yeah, I was gonna say you probably remember that. But my big cuz, TT, that's where I was great. I was always over there, and then we would always be over, with y'all, believe it or not. And your mom, she was always good people. And I didn't even know that she was like Gaji's big sister. Like I didn't know that, what I'm saying? Like until later on. But I do, I remember that. And then getting through that, fam, what was that like, man? Like you being in high school, unfortunately, untimely losing your mom during that time. Talk to us about like what got you through that.
Just good people around me, because it was definitely a tough time. That was just like just weights. That was just felt like it was weights on me. Like I ain't really know what to do at the times, but being around good people, telling me to keep my head up and just being there and having people to talk to.
And you always seem like a quiet brother, man. Like you always seem like you listen more and you talk less. Am I right in saying that?
You're absolutely right with that.
You always
Everybody would agree with that.
You always been that dude. Do you think you consciously like move like that, or do you consciously move like that? Because I remember you as a kid moving like that, or do you just think it was something that just kind of happened in the way you was brought up?
I think just growing up and kind of you don't know what to say, so kind of just you sit around and you just observe the room, and I kind of like to do that more than anything, and I've always liked to do that, and speak when spoken to, but at the same time, I'm not the guy that was ever walking in the room saying, "Hey, I'm here." I was never the energy in the room, but at the same time, like if we ever talk, you're gonna feel like we had good conversation.
Yeah, that's a real good. It's funny because even that, and when we talk about that run you had in that game, it kind of embodied your whole personality. Where it could be like the whole game, you'd be thinking like, all right, we ain't got to worry, because you quiet. And then all of a sudden, you go for like 70 on one, and it's like, all right, we should have been worrying. So it's kind of like that whole, and you don't seem like the type to be like, yo, I need more carries, I need this, I need that. It's kind of like, what do I got to do for the team to win?
Exactly. And that's, just try to carry that with everything you do. Like you don't make it about you, and it's all about teamwork with everything you're doing.
True.
And that's how I play sports, and that's just how I carry my life. Like, I don't need to be everybody to see that I'm winning. And everybody around me good.
Yeah, and that's important, Jermaine, because I don't think a lot of people live like that, man. Sometimes, we can get so focused on, how what are my stats, how many people feeling me, and we lose focus rather of like, I'm gonna make sure everybody else eating, I'm gonna make sure everybody good, and then I'm gonna do me.
And that's all that count. Yep.
True. So you in high school, like, are you thinking college? And if so, when do you start thinking like, I want to go to college, or what is my life gonna be like after high school?
Well, that was the thing too, about like how you said me just sticking to myself and not being the most outgoing person or most, I don't talk that much when I walk in the room. So now when it's time for college, I'm nervous. Like I'm not going there with my friends anymore. I'm about to be in a territory where I don't know anybody. So am I going to be the guy just sitting in the corner not talking? So I was nervous about college, and I was trying to go to the same school that Nasir was going to. And I think he got accepted to Montclair.
Yep.
But he was like, I'll go to Jersey City if you want me to go to Jersey City. That's where I got accepted to. So I'm like, nah, I can't have you go to this college because I'm going to this college. So I wound up just going to Jersey City. And I remember my brother calling one of my friends up. He's my friend now. My brother called this guy, Chris White. So he's like, my brother coming to Jersey City. I need you to look after him and, just hold him down. And that's what he did when I got to college.
Wow. So you had got accepted to Jersey City.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And did you apply anywhere else?
I applied to William Patterson. I got accepted to William Patterson.
And
it was Montclair and I think Morgan. I applied to Morgan. I didn't get accepted
Okay.
there.
Okay.
If I would have got accepted there, I would have went there.
To Morgan. Okay.
Yeah.
So what made you choose Jersey City over, you said it was Jersey City and Montclair, right?
Jersey City and William Patterson.
I mean, William Patterson, my bad. So what made you choose Jersey City?
Oh man, when we did the walkthrough for football, it was like selling me a dream. Like, it was, you know how they do. You do a walkthrough, like, are you gonna be starting here and this and that? I got to college. I looked at the depth chart. I'm like number 5 on there. Like, oh, this was the setup the whole time.
Hold on. What year did you get there, Jermaine? Like,
I got there in 2000.
Okay, because I just graduated from there.
Yep.
Like probably 98. But I think 98 or 99. I may have actually walked in 99. So you was like, yeah, I think I may have been 99. So I probably know the people who were selling you those dreams of like, yo, and y'all played like that field was over there cold. It was like, was it on the river? I think it was on the river. Yeah, it was on the river. And Nasir ended up going to?
He went to Montclair.
He did go to Montclair. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But when I got there, I seen our college work, and it's like we had it was a 3-a-day. You know, it wasn't no more 2-a-days. You're doing 3-a-days. Because we came in August, you know, school ain't even started, so you're just practicing. Yeah. I had to go home for something. It was probably like a week within starting practice. And I never came back to football practice.
Word? That's how it went?
I went back when school started. I was like, Yo, I seen that depth chart. I said, I'm not doing this.
But here's what I'm gonna say: Jersey City, even when I was there was so many good JUCO transfers who were like they had crazy talent on that damn team, yo. Like every year I was there were people that should have been Division I, but they were like JUCO transfers, or they needed to do a couple years and then move on to Division I. So I could only imagine what that depth chart was looking like. So you said, you know what? I'll see y'all in the fall. And you get to Jersey City. Like, what was college like? What was that experience for you like in college?
Well, you know, Jersey City is kind of like more of a commuting school.
True.
But when I got there, I stayed on campus. And I got there, I set my classes up where I only took classes from Monday to Thursday. And I was coming home every weekend. You know, it's not like that was a party school or anything. So I think within my time there, it was like 2 parties the whole time I was at Jersey City. Yeah. You know, it's just not that type of school, which was kind of worked out perfect for me because I could be more focused on schoolwork.
Yo, Jersey City, it definitely wasn't. I did the same thing. I was coming home every weekend, staying in Voldra Hall, coming home. It was not a party. It was nothing about Jersey City that was party, bro. And it was like, it was almost like a commuter college at the time. And I don't know if it's changed since then, but in Omar, not just at Omar with the handle. Yeah. And no cap, Omar, Oku, as we called him, because he was there when I was there.
He was legendary though.
But his kids, I don't know if you know his kids. Go ahead, you know?
I just heard the stories. I heard crazy stories, like he was just pulling up to the basketball games, like not riding with the team, pulling up in like the big Lexus and it's all type of crazy stuff.
Yeah, Oku is legendary. He's doing his thing right now. With he has his own agent. He's a sports agent. His daughter, check his daughter out. His daughter is a starting guard with the LA Sparks. Was it? I forget her first name, but Cooper. She's with the LA Sparks, and his son just played at Auburn. He played 1 year as a freshman, and he's in a draft. So and his son is like, when you see him, and I'm both of them, even his daughter, I'm watching her on the Sparks, and I'm like, damn, that's what we, watching Omar, like, play. It was like, it's him. Like, it's just crazy. So definitely shout out to him. He brought that up. But he was crazy. Like, but his kids, and seeing his kids play now, both of them, one about to be in the NBA, and his daughter's already in the WNBA. It's just a salute to that. Right there. Yeah, yep, no doubt. So, Jenkins was a beast too. You're right. Jenkins was a beast too. So
William Patterson though.
Yeah, he was yo, that whole NJAC was just crazy. That's what I mean though. Like that's what the NJAC was in football and basketball. It was like a lot of people, because at the end of the day, what happened is if you didn't have the SAT score to get into a Division I college, you ended up playing at a Division III college. In Jersey, to me, in football and basketball, has some of the best talent coming out of the country. So they would end up going to schools like Willie P, we used to call it, and then Montclair or Jersey City, and that's what happened. And that's how they all ended up there.
Yep. I always say that like D3 is a lot of D1 athletes with bad grades.
Yes. Yes. So talk to us a little bit about your experiences, fam, like in Jersey City academically.
Academically, I was I probably was like a 3.0, like it's probably like a 3.2 actually. That was my GPA. So, I was there, went to school, business management. I kind of knew what I wanted to do when I got there. So that was a good thing. I didn't waste too much time. Because that's what they don't tell you. You could be at college for 3 years and not pick a major, and you've been taking all these classes for no reason.
True.
So you don't want to rush yourself, but at the same time, hopefully you know what you want to do before you get there.
True.
So with that being said, I took all the right classes that I need to take, which if I could do it over, I probably would have majored in something specifically instead of business management, because it was so broad, where you take all the classes, but you don't take one specific class.
Okay. And the specialization, like you didn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you might take a finance class, then a human resource class, then, an accounting class. But it's like if you just wanted to be an accountant, you would just take all accounting classes.
True.
So, coming out of college, just like I'm looking at it now, like no job was going to hire me because you're not going to walk in being a manager right away. But then you don't specialize in those specific fields right there.
So true. So true. So what would be your advice like to kids who are leaving high school now, going off to college, in terms of like, declaring a major or thinking about declaring a major? What would be some of your advice for them?
It's tough, because right now, like I deal with that with my son because he's a junior right now and he's not really too big on going to college. But like I tell him, boy, you don't know if you're not going to go into college, you kind of know what you need to do. You got to figure out what you want to do in life. So at least you can go to a trade school and just go right to what you want to do. Because that's, you could spend a lot of money for no reason.
So, that I was just having that conversation and I was like, I think when my kids get to high school, I'm gonna send them to vocational when they become sophomores. So at least they learn a trade. And then from there, when they graduate high school, if they want to go off to a 4-year college, they can go. If they want to go to Brookdale or community college, they can go.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we get so like fascinated with go to college. But that could become a big waste of money.
It really can. And I think that's like an old school way of thinking too, because the more I sit down with him and we talk about it, and I realize I'm kind of stuck in the old school ways. These kids are doing so much more without going to college.
Yes.
They picking their phone up and learning something right there on their phone and becoming millionaires or just doing what they like doing. They don't you don't necessarily have to go to that college anymore.
Yes. And I'm all for education, but I'm also like, there's different types of education, just like you explained. Like education is not only, all right, I'm gonna go from high school to college, it may be a trade school, or it may be a whole field in terms of like, I want to do real estate, what I'm saying? Like, and I don't have to necessarily go to college, to be a real estate agent.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be a dental assistant. So like, I don't, it's so many things that it's like, there's other skills that may not call for you to go to 4 years of college and to be, in college for 4 years. So
I feel like the biggest thing that I picked up in college is like communication skills, just being around different people, because, Jersey City, you got Indian people, you got Chinese people, Spanish. You talk to everybody and you see the world and you learn that the world is bigger than the Long Branch.
Yes.
So that was like the biggest thing that I learned in college, like learning how to talk to different people and just communication skills.
So true. And it also goes back to, and I don't know if you would agree, but when we talk about being in situations where we're watching and listening more than we're talking. And when I went away there, it was a lot of listening. Because there weren't many Monmouth County people there when I went. I don't know if it was different when you went,
It
but
was
I was
different.
right. So you're basically like learning, Newark is Jersey City, East Orange, like that's where you're at basically. And
Yep.
it's like you can keep opening your mouth, or you could be like, all right, let me learn like the way this whole thing is operating, and then learning how to communicate in this whole realm. Did you find that was the situation with you?
That's exactly what it was. And that's why I said, like, I enjoyed my college years, even though I didn't go to the party school and have that experience that you hear about all the time with all these parties and everything. But
Yeah.
I was okay with that because I did go to, William Patterson parties or Montclair parties. But at the same time, I was able to really get my work done and what I was there for, to focus on school.
Same. What were the distractions for you during your college years, would you say?
I think a big distraction with every kid that goes to college is being broke. And when you just in that dorm room and 10 o'clock coming, the cafeteria closed and you're like, yo, I'm starving right now. And I've got about like $1.85 in my pocket or something. And then the person next to you, they got that same amount of money. Y'all trying to go to like White Castle and get a burger or something. So
and the food truck ain't there. And it's funny you say that because people don't really say that. Like, I was hungry. I was starving in college. I remember that. And it's like, you can't order nothing because you ain't even got the money. That's when I first started that's when I got into credit card debt, by the way.
Exactly. That's the thing about college. It'll get you on credit card debt and have you already accumulated another debt by going to college.
Yes. That's when I was introduced. I'll never forget. I was in the CAF. They had this whole setup. It was a Discover card. That was my first credit card. They were like, all you got to do, fill out this application. We give you this shirt. It was a t-shirt. I got the t-shirt. I went home like a month later. It was a credit card in the mail. Like, I got mail. I opened it up. I didn't even tell my mom and dad. I was like, oh, it was like $400. I'll never forget. It was $450 was my credit limit. So what I did was
the same car because I had the same.
You got see, they got us all, yo.
They caught me coming out the cafeteria. Somebody was saying it right there, and I filled something out.
They got us all, man. I got that card on the Saturday. Man, real talk. I didn't even know what a credit card was. I got the card on the Saturday. Sunday, because I would go back to school on Sunday. I get on the path and I was like, I'm gonna try this card out. So I stopped on the path and go to Newark. I go to downtown Newark.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm gonna go to one of these sneaker spots. I bought me some Felines, right? The Grant Hills. So I was like, oh, it worked. So I get on the train, hit Jersey City, and the rest is history. Like, that's when my whole credit card, because I thought that was free money.
Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you what's funny, right? So I got my credit card, but I still wasn't gonna spend nothing on it. So Nasir had ordered a credit card because at Montclair they gave him like $1,000 limit, which usually your first limit is $450. So he was balling. so when he get his credit card, he like, yo, let's go to the store, just start buying stuff. I'm like, I'm not using my credit card. He's like, nah, we're gonna use mine. I'm gonna get PlayStations, and PlayStation was like $250. I'm like, yo, it's not a scam. It's not, like, you got to pay this money back.
Yes,
and that's how it happens, though.
So you knew. So how did you know? Like, yo, I ain't going there. Like, what made you?
I never owing people no money, so I just felt like, and I didn't understand the significance of a credit card, but at the same time, I knew it was debt, though. I knew you had to pay that money back.
So you had an understanding of that.
Exactly, and I'm working on campus, and on campus you can only make $2,000 per semester.
Yep.
So I'm like, all right, this credit card got a $450 limit on it. Like, your check can only be but so much money.
Yeah. So how can I pay that back?
Credit card off. Yeah, exactly.
I knew you had a mind that was better than all of ours back then because they caught me straight slipping. Like, I was like, yo, I was in that debt for a minute. Like, and then I was like, I'm gonna get another card because that card went to like zero. I think I bought like a Sega, bought Coach K basketball or something. Like, and I was like, damn, the money's gone. And I never, to this day, my dad, rest in peace, but my mom, she still don't even know that I got that credit card that day. That's how crazy, it was
like a secret when you first get it. You don't want to tell nobody.
Yeah, it was crazy. So you get through Jersey City, fam. You do the MBA thing, or not the master's in business, but you do business administration, right?
Business management.
Business management. My bad.
Yeah.
You do business management. And what's after college?
Well, I was getting nervous after college because I had my kids, and I had my kids when I was in college.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there like, oh man, I gotta figure. Well, I had my son when I was in college, so I'm like, I gotta get a job somewhere. So I'm applying to jobs, but I'm like, none of them really fit in that that criteria what I really need. So what happened though, my senior year in college, I had a friend, the guy I was telling you that my brother told me to look out for me.
Okay.
Chris.
Yep.
He was working at Foxton's, the real estate company. They used to have the Mini Coopers. They used to be over there by Kmart.
Yes.
So he was telling me, he said, go take this real estate class. If you pass the class, I'll give you a job at Foxton's, because he was the manager there. So he was like, I got you. Don't worry about it. So I went and took the real estate class. I got the job at Foxton's. And when I got the job, I got a call from Weichert. And they was just like selling me. They like, well, you can come work for us and you'll make $1 million a year. Our agents are paying, and you're young. So you're young and gullible. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna start this real estate and I'm not even gonna work at Foxton's, which Foxton's was paying a salary. So I probably should have went there. And at that time they was paying like $35,000 a year. And then back in 2005, 2006, that was good money.
Yeah, true.
But I turned that down thinking I could work on my own, and it just didn't work. Because when you first start real estate, I mean, you're too young, you just get in the game, and it's rough.
Yeah.
So,
and you got to learn the ins and the outs. You got to learn the who's who, and learn, and basically, like straight up learn your craft.
Exactly. Yep.
And how old were you?
I was probably about 22.
Okay.
Yeah, about 22.
Wow. So did you know anything about real estate up until that point?
Well, I knew I had an idea of it because, we grew up in a house, and I remember my grandmother telling me how much we paid for the house.
Okay.
So I'm like, at that time, I think they paid like $18,000 for the house. So I'm like, $18,000. I knew that was a lot of money, but wasn't a lot of money for a house. Damn. So I'm like that. So all you really got to do one day is save $18,000 and you'll own a house.
Yo, well, let's talk about that a little bit. And shout out to your grandma, man. She just good peoples. Like, yo, $18,000 for that house, which is now on the beach. That's a beach. That's beach property.
Yep.
What do you think a house like that is? Are we talking about the same house on Whitmore?
The same house. Yep.
Okay. So what do you think that house is going for, like right now? What would you say? You probably know.
Well, she sold it in 2005, somewhere around there, or 2004, and she sold it for $162. So that was a good come up for her. Going from 18,000 to 162. So she killed them.
Damn.
But now that house is probably worse. It's probably in this market right now.
I don't even want to know. I don't even want to. Yo, it's depressing. It's depressing to even know. You think 450?
I think 450 right now in this market today. You should get 450.
Probably with no word, nothing, just selling it as is.
It's as is. You would get 450. Right now, the sellers control everything, and houses, the interest rates are so low.
Yeah,
you can make a lot of money on a house right now.
Yes, but you just got to have a place to move to.
That's the only problem. So after you sell, where you gonna go? Somebody about to do to you what you just did to somebody else.
Yo, but when we start talking about generational wealth, you know what I'm saying? And you start talking about $18,000 to like maybe 450 selling that right now. And you're talking about a $400,000+ come up.
Yeah.
That's how you start building wealth,
yep.
And for you, like, to even have that conversation, bro, I never had that kind of conversation. For you to have that talk of like knowing, like you just saying, yo, I knew she said we paid $18,000 for the house.
Yeah.
Like when we was living next to y'all, we was renting. So I had no recollection. There's no recollection of like, because there was no paying for that house. You know what I'm saying? And I drive past that house every day. And the money I think that my mom and dad put into that house, if they would have owned it, like, shoot, me and Corey would have that money. You know what I'm saying? Like,
try not to think about it. It'll drive you crazy.
It does. But like you remembering, oh, she said we pay $18,000 for the house. That must be something that like that kind of got your mind going in terms of like, all right, you talk about math. We talked about high school, how math was important to you, of how you start thinking like, all right, how can I make like a living off of this?
Yeah. So, and then at that time, I got into the real estate and I'm like, all right, well, I'm working at Weicker, but things ain't really working out how I needed to work out. So it's time to start applying for jobs. So at that time I went to Circus City, and they used to have a Verizon store inside Circus City.
Yep.
So somebody had told me this kid I know, Anthony, he told me to apply for a job at Verizon Wireless. I went on the website and I went to the wrong place and I applied for residential and I wound up getting a job. So it's kind of like that worked out perfect for me.
Okay.
But I continued to do the real estate the whole time. And, because I stuck with the real estate because I found something that I love doing.
And how did you stay like up on the whole real estate thing? Like if you had to say like, because to me, that's a whole different skill set and knowledge base in terms of like, yo, you got to learn the trade. You got to learn property values. You got to learn, interest rates. Like you just talked about, like, how did you like stay on top of that kind of game?
Because like I said, anything that you love doing is no longer a job anymore, So I'm just waking up every day and I'm going on the computer and I'm just learning more and more about the market. And I have no problem waking up at 8:00 just to read up on it. And, real estate class is only 75 hours. A lot of people don't know that. You'll get your real estate license with 75 hours. And then you have to pass a state test. And then after that, you're good. You kind of pick which company you want to work for.
And you started off and it was like you could have had a salary position at Fox, and then you go to Weicker. And then you're like, yo, I got to get a job. So you get a steady job, but you're still doing the real estate on the side. So what kind of turned you into the whole investment property thing?
Well, all right. So my grandfather had a stroke. So when he had a stroke, at this time I'm living in an apartment, but I'm working at Verizon. Okay. So once he had a stroke, they needed a place where they had a bedroom on the first floor. Because at the time where they was living, their bedroom was upstairs.
Okay.
So my grandmother was telling me, like, we're about to find a house and something with a bedroom on the first floor. So I said, no, all these years y'all done took care of me. Let me buy y'all a house. So
hold up. That's how that went?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
and where was this, Jermaine?
In North Carolina.
Damn.
So I bought them their house out there and it just worked out perfect.
Damn. Yo. One of the craziest stories that we're gonna get back. We was upstairs in the old house on Whitmar, and your grandfather, I don't know, you or TJ was running a bath. That was running bath water.
Yeah.
You probably remember this. You smiling already. Yo, me and got Jid in his room, and yo, your grandfather, like, he was like, what he say? He's like, what you gonna do? You gonna eat up the tub? You gonna eat up the damn tub? Because somebody kept running the damn. Was it you and Thomas that was running the
I think we was cleaning the tub, and he was trying to eat out the tub.
Yo was cleaning it. Yo. He was like, what you gonna do? Eat out the damn tub? I was like, yo, that's one of the classic, nights over there at the crib. When he said, yo, we was dying laughing. I remember, y'all was cleaning the bath. And then we fast forward, yo, y'all come up in that house. You do the ultimate, fam. Your grandfather has a stroke and they need a single level.
Yeah.
And you do the ultimate and was like, all right, what can I do to kind of get back? And that's what you do.
Yeah.
Wow. I never knew that, but I'm not surprised I never knew that, because that's not something a brother like you gonna be posting on Facebook or nothing like that. It's like just something that you just do.
Yeah, I wasn't, obviously I wasn't doing it for no credit. I was doing it because they took care of me my whole life, and my grandmother was about to buy a house, and I just said it was something I wanted to do. I wanted to do for them.
Damn, that's hot, man. And that's like the dream that we all have, is like to do that payback, you know, to
I
buy
got
a
it from
house.
like the program. Remember the movie The Program when Albert Mack gave his mom like the doorbell? It was like, one day I'm gonna buy you a house. So it's like
yes. That, you know, a lot of us dream of that, man. A lot of us dream of that, you know, and for you to actually execute that, I'm sure that had to be a crazy feeling, a crazy blessing.
Oh yeah, that was like the best feeling I ever had right there. I was able to do something for them, so I felt real good.
That's
I felt like that day when I did that, I said, I don't even care no more. Like I accomplished my goal.
Like the rest is like gravy. Like whatever else happened, I did that, you know. And that's the ultimate thing, is giving back is like ultimate, man. You know, and for you to do that, and then at the same time, is that what kind of got you hooked on the whole like investment piece?
Yeah. So that right there, that let me play around with numbers more and really figure things out. Because at that time, Obama was in office and he was giving like a $8,000 tax break. Yes. So if you bought a house, he was giving you $8,000. So a lot of people, you know, they could have got a free house at that time.
Yes. Yes. Not even knowing. So that's part of that. Like, yeah. So I was just recently, it was like maybe a couple of months ago, I think you had some property up in Newark. That you had posted on social media in terms of like, so what do you like, if people are interested in like, yo, I think I may be into investment property in real estate, what is your advice to them? Like, how do you kind of get into that game?
Well, right now, you know, it's tough right now because the market is like, it's nothing out there. There's no inventory out there. They actually scared that a lot of real estate companies are going to close because there's no inventory. But I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll see. So I look at it like this, you know, it's like anything else, do your homework and play around with the numbers a little bit. And I always go by this thing. Now, in New Jersey, a 4-bedroom, you can actually rent it out for $2,400. So if you can find a 4-bedroom and keep your mortgage under, like, let's say you're trying to flip the property, but your mortgage is $1,800. I mean, you can always rent it. So worst case scenario, you could rent the property. You'll never take a loss. So even if the sell side don't work, you'll keep this property and you'll rent it out.
Okay. And then you'll still at least break even in terms of not. Yes. So you talked about, just so I want folks out there who may be listening, Jermaine, to understand, when you talked about there's no inventory out there, what exactly are you saying?
So right now, if you go on there, I think the last time I looked, there was only about 1,300 houses for sale in New Jersey.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like it's really nothing out there. So because right now, everybody marking their house up so high, but they selling right away as soon as you put it on the market.
Wow.
So
yo, 1,300 in New Jersey right now?
Yeah. Well, this was actually, no, I'm sorry about that. It's Monmouth and Ocean County. 1,300 Monmouth and Ocean County.
Okay. All right. But still though, property, when you yes.
Think about how many towns are in Monmouth and Ocean County. Like, that's nothing at all.
So that's the whole supply and demand thing.
Yeah, basically. Exactly.
It's supply
and this
and
is why people are putting prices on. People are upping the price of their house right now because there's no inventory. You can sell it for whatever.
Yo, it's wild because our neighbors just sold their house for 400 and something thousand, whereas these are townhomes, bro. And it's like, wow. But now when you break it down like that, it makes so much more sense to me of like, oh my God, like there's no inventory. So therefore the demand is way up. And they're moving in North Carolina, which is crazy. They bought like a big home in North Carolina, you know, and took the profit from here and just put it down there to buy it.
And you got to look at it like this too. At the time, like let's say before COVID, interest rates were at about 4.5%. Right now, interest rates are like 2.8%. So even if you're paying a lot more for the property, you're almost still paying the same price on your monthly mortgage. But it's risky because, you know, once like this market go back down, you stuck with this high mortgage payment. What is the high value of your house? And now, you know, you pay $450 for it and it goes back to its regular price at $300,000.
Jeez, that's crazy. See, and what you just broke down, everything that you just talked about, I know a lot of young heads coming up, they don't understand that. And they may think, you know, renting is the best thing to do. Like, I just want to rent because they're used to renting. What
Yeah.
would you say if you had to like break down, like, for folks who may not be in a position to buy, some kind of like advice for them in terms of like becoming ready to buy people? Like what kind of advice would you give them?
Well, I feel like we all come across like lump sums of money at times, whether it's going to be your income tax, whether you have your 401k, you could pull some money out of there. So if you're someone that's just renting and you're working and you have a 401k, you might get that income tax next year and that's $6,000. And then the year after that, that might be another 6,000. So right there, you got 12,000. And homes, they're asking for 3.5% down with an FHA loan. So if you found a house for 200,000, they only ask you to put 7,500 down.
Yeah. Wow. And then from there, you can change future generations.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I say, like, as far as the house in North Carolina, it was kind of the best move that I could have made. Like, it helped my grandparents out. And when it's all said and done, I'm going to give it to my kids.
Yeah. And they can use it as a rental property or live in it.
Yeah.
Wow.
But,
wow.
They good after that. So the rest is on them.
Because let me ask you this. When you came up, you graduated high school, were you given a property?
Not at all. Not at all.
Yo, I knew the answer to it already, but I'm just like, but think about it, Jermaine. Like, think about it. Like, if you were given that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And listen, we're going to always love our parents. We're going to always love our grandparents. They did what they needed to do and how they knew to do it. And it's only right for us to change trajectory. It's only right for us to be better, right? But when you sit back and think about it, it's like, that must be a good feeling to be like, all right, my kids are going to be able to have this property to do what they want.
It's definitely a great feeling that I'm able to give them something. And, it worked out perfect.
Yeah. I think about it all of the time, man. Because at some point you got to change the whole trajectory. You got to change the whole, like, pretty much like, how we going to be and what I'm going to teach, and whether you want to call it legacy or what have you. It's like, you got to change that. And home ownership, property in this country is very, very important.
And it's like you said, like, my grandparents, they weren't able to give me a house, but they gave me the knowledge of how to do things, and they taught me a lot. So that's all I need. Just teach me how to do something. I'll figure it out.
And that's good advice, man, because I think that even if there's some of the older heads out there that maybe like, listen, a house ain't in my future. Like, I don't feel like a house is in my future. That doesn't mean you can't start schooling your children on like, this is what I want for you. Whether it's your credit, because that's another thing that goes into, if you're going to buy a house without cash, it's having decent credit.
Exactly. And I mean, that's why, like, even when you talk about like high school and everything, I think that old curriculum kind of all need to be thrown away. And if not thrown away, just need to be revised, where you teach them more real estate classes, the classes that you really take on in life.
Yes. I'm with you 1,000,000%, fam. And when you think about that, let's go back to high school, right? And we're going to be wrapping up, but I want you to just talk about that. If there were classes in high school that you would say, if you created classes like bam, 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 it would help kids, on the next parts of their lives. You just talked about teaching about real estate. Are there any other kind of courses or lessons that you'll be like, we need a curriculum in X, Y, and Z that will help young people?
I think credit, because even like you said, when we got to college, we still didn't even know nothing about credit. We was taking credit cards and going into debt right away.
Yes.
And like they say, you can't really, you get a loan for $450 as far as that. And it could put you in a hole for the rest of your life. Because next thing you know, you get another card to try to get out that hole, and that puts you in another hole. Then you were already in college where you got this other debt that you got to deal with.
Yes.
So now you done graduated, you have no job, but you owe this college $30,000 and you owe these credit card companies $5,000.
And then that's when you start feeling like I ain't got nothing to lose. So whatever.
Let me get another card.
Let's do another card. And then that's when my dad, whenever I knew we were making a bad decision in our house, is when my father would say, "You only live once." So if he ever said, "You only live once," I knew. I began to know. I learned. I grew to know that means we're making a bad financial decision right now. Yo, because we would feel good real quick. Like, yeah, we only live once, yo. Let's do it. But then, a month later, it's like, yo, we eating like we was eating 2 months ago, and it's like,
I'm gonna tell you why that's funny, because now that I look at that saying, that saying is really, yo, I'm about to make a bad decision.
Yes. Yo, YOLO is I'm about to make, yo. It's real talk. But that's how, even before YOLO became a thing,
Yeah.
I was like, yo, Dad said we only live once. All right, go blow. That means go blow this money. Whether it's the income tax that you just said, save it. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, yo, Dad, I want this, I want that. You only live once. But then when I look back, you think about that whole Rich Dad, Poor Dad book. When I look back, I'm like, damn, all the times that he said you only live once, those was bad, because he wasn't living for, at the time, my kids weren't born. He wasn't thinking about my children and then their children. And when you made that decision about, yo, I want to do this, I want to invest in this property that A is going to help my grandparents who helped me, and then B is going to be able to something I can give to my kids. That's it.
And that's why I feel like, this is African Americans. I feel like, we're still learning, and now I feel like we all have the knowledge now.
Yeah.
Like our parents didn't have the knowledge that we have now.
Yeah. True.
So it makes it a lot better to teach our kids, and a lot easier.
So true, man. So true, Jermaine. I'm interested in hearing, I always like to ask guests if you can give advice to your high school self, what advice that would be and why?
I would have focused more in school. Focus more in school and don't lose focus at all. Try to just stay on track to everything that you're doing and never lose sight of the goal. And I think that would help me get by everything that I chose to do in life.
Yo, that's good advice, man. And it was really an honor of interviewing you, bro. I have a lot of respect for you. And a lot
Likewise.
of the things, yes, word up. And one of the things, bro, that I'll always remember about you is what we talked about, is that you remind me a lot of me, because I was always an observer. And it's crazy. I have a show that I talk so much, but I was always like an observer of rooms and kind of trying to read a room and know what's going on and not being a talker. And I always saw that, even more than I saw it in TJ. TJ was a little different in that way. He was a little more outgoing, right or wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he was a little more outgoing.
The jokester in the room, but
yes,
like I said, I learned a lot from you as well, and I observed. I remember when you got your, I think it was Gandhi. You got a tattoo of Gandhi, and I was just like, man, I'm not gonna get a tattoo.
Yeah, yo, wow, that was my first tattoo. And I only got 2. That's going all the way back. Wow, I think it was right out of high school. Yes, and y'all was always like looking up to us, and we was always aware of that. We were always aware of that. And I always think that we were always thinking about, like, showing y'all the way, in the way that we knew. It's not saying it was the best way at the time, but it was the way, that we knew. And we was like, yo, we want to instill that in y'all. And I
think y'all did a good job. And, we all appreciate it. Like everybody, I know all my friends, we all looked up to y'all. Yeah. And we're going to continue to look up to y'all. So
true.
Y'all doing a great job.
True. And there's some younger heads that's doing the same thing to y'all, fam. Same thing. And much, much love for it. And the love that you get is definitely deserved. And keep doing what you're doing. And we're very thankful to have had your story, because now these stories, man, they go down. They're part of, like, it's out there now. Like, your story is out there, and I think that's really, I just think that's really important. So I appreciate you coming through and blessing us with it.
Of course. And I appreciate the invitation, and, it was an honor.
No doubt, no doubt. And we got some other things we're gonna work on. I ain't gonna talk about it right now, but we working on some other things, and I can't wait until we make that happen. Because I think that's gonna be hot. And we're gonna work on that behind the scenes, and getting some things going with that. But I appreciate you. To the family out there, enough respect. Appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of the Purpose and Practice podcast. We're about to hit, in 2 more months, we will be at our first year anniversary for the show. And it's crazy, to think that we've come this far and sharing this many stories. So salute to all of you. Salute to you, Skills. And all of you out there, stay well, be blessed, and peace out. Yo, Jermaine, Silk, it's love, fam.
Yep. Likewise, like I said, and I really appreciate, you giving me the call and inviting me to the show.
Always, always, always. Peace.
Peace.
It's a 9-core banger. Dr. Ross dropping knowledge to the masses. Man, you now tuned in to Purpose and Practice. Purpose and practice. Keep your mental sharp. Learn all the tactics. Dr. Ross dropping knowledge to the masses. Man, you now tuned in to Purpose and Practice. Purpose and Practice. Podcast game. He got it mastered.